We are good. We are
Awesome.
good.
So before we introduce our guest in Johannesburg as well, this is pretty awesome. International. So today, Wiki bring you Q&As with the sports barista,
coffee to conquer, and precision hydration.
the sweat experts. Of course, everyone knows that by now. So our guest, Emma Pallant. How are you, Emma?
Yes, very well, thank you. I'm also a sweat expert.
Whoa. That's good, that's good.
Well led in.
Yeah, nice. So, Emma, for people that don't know you, we know a fair bit, but we'll pretend we don't know anything. Tell us about yourself. How did you get into the sport?
So I was originally, if I take it right back, I was a bit of a hyperactive kid. I could never concentrate at school unless I'd done some form of sport before. I went in and so my mum would just push like all sports my way and would take me here, there, everywhere to all kind of clubs. And then I was probably about maybe 10 years old, 12 years old, when my running coach was like, if you focus on one sport, you could be really good. And running was by far my favorite. So I kind of got serious in my running and had quite a bit of success as a junior. And probably up till 2010, everything was going well. Like I signed a night contract and things were pretty good. So I had a bad knee injury and I was kind of ignoring it. And pushed it to the point of getting injured and needing pretty big surgery, which kind of led me to swimming and biking to keep fit, which brought about triathlon.
Nice.
There we go.
So this is where I show how much I've been looking into stuff. So on interviews you've done before, you mentioned that Kelly Holmes was one of your early mentors. And because of your injury, she was the one that suggested that you got into triathlon. And we'll come back to that later because we're actually really closely linked together on lots of stuff. But I'm going to sound really weird, so I'll leave that.
So weird.
But both wearing a cap.
Yeah. But how did you get involved with Kelly Holmes?
So Kelly was actually, she has a mentoring on camp with Kelly scheme, and at the World Juniors, me and my best friend and training partner were actually racing each other for an Olympic spot. And we had the same coach, obviously. So Kelly kind of stepped in and she was like, I can help you in the lead up. Because she had the same thing with Maria Matola. They had the same coach, so they had to be kind of separate before the big championship. It kind of took off from there. She went from mentoring to being really hands-on. To the point of like, I dropped her a text a couple of months ago. She has a place here in South Africa, and she's just that person that it wasn't just like a quick like throw your name at something and like help some people short term. It was like get to know an athlete and really bring on like the next generation. Super lucky.
And you still talk to her?
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
Yeah.
Because we've never met her, obviously. But yeah, it's just nice that she's still involved in helping the people that she started helping all those years ago. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is so unique. Like it was such a genuine interest and such a passion of hers that it is literally something that she's always going to be passionate about, and she'll never stop wanting to help young people and working with them. She's super genuine and super cool lady.
So here we go. This is the moment. All right. So 2012 Olympics, first of all, was that your inspiration to get into triathlon? Watching the Brownlees race triathlon?
So kind of 20, I was gearing up, like I was in the 5K trials for the 2012 Olympics. I'd missed 2008 Beijing, so I had that fire in my belly to try and qualify for the 5K. And Kelly was there watching me at the trials, and I had to step off the track because like my knee had blown up and I was in agony. We were just literally having that, 5 minutes after, everything is raw, everything's emotional. And it was in that conversation, she was like, I think you just need to focus, like focus to your cross training, I have a charity and they have spots at the London Triathlon. So let's say if you're able to run in like a couple of months' time, then why don't you just swim and bike hard, get yourself super fit for that. We know you can run. And then, yeah, I'll enter you in the London Triathlon. So that's how it kind of came about.
Nice. So your first triathlon was London Triathlon?
It was. I'm seeing a link.
That was mine, yeah. What distance did you do? The Olympic? Was it Olympic?
So I actually got budged up to the elite race, which I think was, I'm pretty sure was an Olympic distance.
Yeah.
I think it was.
So I wasn't in the elite race. You're probably surprised to know, but yeah, it's my first one too. I was like, oh, we're like twins.
Yeah.
You know, this is cool.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna sit back and take that in and let Lauren kind of deal with the rest of it.
Yeah,
I'm
you've
done.
had your moment.
I'm good. I'm good.
So kind of leading on from London Tri, so how was your first experience of swimming not just open water but swimming that in the River Thames, because it's not the cleanest of places?
Yeah, it is. It's that murkiness as well, like when you can't see and you're like, I kind of thought, okay, just don't think about it. And I'll be honest, for a lot of it, I was actually closing my eyes and then opening them to breathe, which is maybe why I went so off track. But yeah, I just kept thinking, okay, keep blowing out and just make sure not to take anything in. Yeah, I'm not sure how much that worked, but I'd say it's quite a good one to start with, because you kind of, then when you get into the sea and stuff, you're more of a pleasant experience maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have aeroplanes flying over the top of you when you were doing it?
Oh, I don't think I looked up that high.
Because the only reason I asked is because the planes kept going overhead, and all I could taste in my mouth when I was breathing was diesel fumes. It was horrible. But I liked the Thames though. The Thames was good. I liked it.
Yeah, we swam in there for Windsor Tri as well.
Yeah.
So started to get used to it.
Lauren's not convinced.
No. I think I'd be more worried at what's at the bottom of it, to be honest.
It's deep. It's deep.
Don't go there. Don't think. At least you get out of it as quickly as possible then.
Yeah, true. PB on the swim. Yeah.
Definitely.
And so having running as your forte, when you then got into triathlon, which discipline did you kind of find it the toughest to get into and adapt to?
Yeah, it was definitely the swim, kind of because as well, coming into that kind of short course racing with the ITU girls, and yeah, I thought compared to, like, I'd be on a running camp and all the other runners would be like, when we're in the pool cross training, they'd be like, oh wow, you can swim. So I thought, I'm an okay swimmer. And then you get with real swimmers, you're like, okay, I can't swim. So yeah, it was kind of that. And I think that helped my bike come up really quickly, because I was always one of the last out of the water, and I just had to always bike my hardest, run my hardest. And yeah, no tactics involved at all for me. It was swim, bike, run your balls off and try and make some kind of group.
And open water is quite different to pool swimming as well, isn't it? It's slightly different techniques. So
yeah, massively.
It's enjoyable.
Is it still the same now? Like, is the swimming still something that you struggle with, or have you kind of mastered it?
Yeah, no, so it's definitely of all of them, it's like my weakest by far. But I actually found, like, so I used to freak out. I used to think I have to swim 6-7 times a week, and sometimes double days, like I have to swim, otherwise I'm going to totally forget to swim. And then this lockdown came, and I was like, I'm going to drown. Like, I can't have 3 months out of the water. And I've been so surprised just by actually looking at it from a different, I think I used to put so much effort into my swimming. But now kind of when I had those 3 months, I would just look at like videos of really good swimmers. I'd look at like technique things, and I did so much land training and gym work that actually going back into the pool, like I'm starting to relax a bit more, and I'll never be an amazing swimmer, but I'm hoping that I can make some gains kind of, and also it's just a different perspective. Like I'm not going to freak out again if I can't get to water for 3-4 days. Like it's not a big deal. So yeah, there's so much you can do on land, and I think that's a good way of actually getting that bit extra for your swim.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of swim band work.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite interesting because that's obviously what a lot of people were doing. And,
Yeah.
Is it something that you were doing before, like the land-based stuff, or were you doing more time in the pool and less stuff on land?
Yeah, I think because I was so exhausted from like the mileage that I was swimming and I was biking and running, like my volume's always been quite high. And I think I was just always, it was that thing that I was like, gym work and the stretching side of things, like that bit I can drop because like I'm literally like training eight or so hours a day. And yeah, I think just the importance of it, I now really respect so much. And actually always going to the pool dead knackered, like that's where you ingrain your bad technique. So that's really kind of helped. Actually, I need to swim a bit fresher, and also to be fast you need to be fresh. So for those key sessions, if you're always going in at that, like you kind of grey zone that plod, like unless you freshen up to go hard.
Definitely,
so no more 6 or 7 swims a week then?
No more. Like we've managed actually to find finally a pool here, so we're swimming five times a week now. But like just varying them. Like some will be short, hard stuff, and some will be longer, like strength swims. So yeah, a good variety.
Nice.
Awesome. And BMC, it's Vifit.
Ask
the expert.
Is it Vifit?
Vifit, yeah. Let's go.
We'll go with that then.
We'll go with
that. So when did you kind of join them, and also what is it like representing such a powerhouse tri team?
Yeah, so it was actually, I kind of stepped up. I realized, okay, my swim is not strong enough for kind of the ITU stuff to be really competitive. And I was in that year where like the strong swimmers were getting off the front and staying away. Yeah. And so I started dabbling in 70.3 and Bob DeWolf, the manager, we had a talk, and it's kind of, like to begin with, it felt a little bit surreal, like a team is interested in me, and like because I'd had a couple of podiums, but I thought, well, I'm not like there yet. I've got so much work to do, and like I hadn't had much experience on a time trial bike. But yeah, he showed belief, and it's just been awesome to really like learn off the experts in the team, and have the great equipment, obviously, but also with the teammates, kind of, it's been, you really get to know people in the team, and I guess, I just feel super grateful and honored to be a part of it. And the team's been really strong for the years that I've been in it. So it's been pretty cool.
Do the teams mix? Because obviously, I mean, we're like Tour de France time at the moment, but do the Tour team mix with the tri team, or are you just all completely separate?
No, they're very separate. We might share a mechanic. The same guy kind of that works on the bike will be at our camps and things. But we won't share a camp or anything like that.
Cool. So you won't be riding the Tour anytime soon?
Yeah, I don't think so.
That is a long time in the
saddle.
That's a long
way. That is a long way.
Yeah.
No thanks. And the speed that they come at, scary. Scary. So Kona 2018, it was your first time out, and it was really tough to see you give it up on the run. How was that experience, and what have you learned and kind of taken away from it?
Yeah, so for me, it was kind of, I kind of qualified, I took a lot of points from my 70.3 podium at the Worlds, and they came across to the next year of qualifying for Kona. And like being a high volume trainer, I thought, like I can do this, and kind of talked to the manager, and they're like, do you know what, like we fully support, if you think you can get to Kona, we fully support you. And it took 2 Ironmans, had a failed attempt in South Africa, and then went on to qualify in Austria, but like it went far from right. Again, I kind of almost didn't make the finish line. So I kind of, because I qualified, I was just putting all the bad stuff aside, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to be positive, I can do this, but really hadn't nailed my nutrition. I wasn't working with precision hydration at the time, and being such a heavy sweater and just out for that long, my body just wasn't like tolerating it. And yeah, I kind of went in with the attitude of just Kona, like I'm going to give it everything I can, and yeah, just see where I finish, and I have to finish. So it was coming off the bike into transition, and yeah, I'd already wasn't feeling great, but I'd gone down to put my shoes on, and I passed out, which, yeah, fainting for me, like it happened quite a lot when I was younger and stuff, and ended up in the medical, and I was like, I have to get back out there. Like, this is my first Kona, I have to finish. And especially like the run is always the best bit of the race for me. And that was the bit I couldn't wait to do. And yeah, so I had my time in the medical. They were like, okay, if you're going to finish, we can't put you on a drip. So I was like, no, yeah, that's fine. Like, I just drink here, like feel better. And when my stats were okay, they let me out. But yeah, I felt like I'd been hit by a bus, and I was just like plodding around, and I saw my team manager, and he's like it's not worth anything. Like, we know you can finish, but you're just doing harm to yourself. You could do a few races kind of at the end of season. Yeah. And yeah, that was the thing that made me think, okay, I'll try and salvage the season instead. But yeah, far from ideal. And I guess it's one of those things that actually has shown me that with Ironman, you got to want to, you can't just like slot it into a 70.3 season. Like, these are the best in the world. If you want to be competitive, then you got to go for it. Like, stop the 70.3 and just really go for it and focus all your stuff on that. Yeah, that's what it would take for me to get over and solve my nutrition problems.
So do you think you've solved that now? Like, is that still an ongoing thing?
Yeah, it's still an ongoing process, and it's been hard because I really sat down and because again, I gave it another go last year, and it was one of those things where, like, I just wasn't willing to sacrifice the 70.3 races, because I'm someone that I love to race like back-to-back weekends, and I just wasn't willing to give that up yet. I feel like I have more to do in 70.3. And I want to see where I can go in there, and then like really focus to solve my problems and do the Ironman properly.
Yeah.
So are you going to stay with 70.3, or you keep kind of flirting with Kona and see how it goes?
Yeah, so for at least the next few years, I'm definitely going to do 70.3, and I want to go back to World Duathlon. That's another goal, because yeah, I love my duathlons.
Cool, that leads on
well,
nice as well.
It's like we planned that, but we totally didn't.
Yeah, so kind of leading on from that, you are a well-rounded athlete, and you've had success in aquathlon and duathlon as well as triathlon. A
little bit, yeah, world champion and stuff.
Which one do you prefer out of the three?
I'd say I love the challenge of the triathlon, but I love the pain of the duathlon, because literally it is like you hurt yourself on the first run, and then you got to bike hard, and then you got to survive. And I would say, yeah, that's my kind of, I know it's not as big a sport, and I do love the kind of challenge of the triathlon, but yeah, if you ask me which I prefer racing, I would have to say I do love the duathlon.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Do you find it good training for triathlon?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's that real toughness that just, if you're doing it in that winter block, like often the duathlons can come before the triathlon season. And I just think it's such a strengthener, because yeah, having to go and bike off a hard run, and then yeah, the way your legs feel on that second run, I just think, yeah, it can only make you stronger.
Definitely. Character building.
Yeah.
And no swimming either, which is obviously great.
Yeah. And if you had to pick a favourite go-to run session, what would it be?
Woo, that's a hard one.
You're getting good, aren't they?
I love my running. I'd say when I'm out for a 2-hour long run, like that is my time, that's my place, and I love that feeling. But in terms of a hard session, I think probably 6 by K. It doesn't sound that exciting, But I think just because it is that middle distance of like 2Ks are that little bit longer and you've got to pace them that bit more, and anything less like is that shorter kind of pain. Whereas 1Ks are just that middle, like it's like the 800 of running. That they always say track athletes that the 800 hurts the most. And I think it's that middle, like, yeah, you can get a lot of strength from your 6 times a K.
You see, it's the one, I think it's probably the one session that pro triathletes put on Instagram, Facebook, like that's the session that they want everyone to know they're doing, isn't it? You know, eight 1Ks at X pace, you know? It's definitely the one. Yeah,
they're proud.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what is your go-to meal the evening before a race?
Ooh, can I be cheeky and have 2? I do have 2. So preferentially, if I can get chicken and rice, then I'm a chicken and rice girl. But a lot of the time, it will end up being a pizza. Chicken pizza.
Chicken, just chicken?
Well, I do take, I'm a bit of a weirdo. I don't have cheese on my pizza. So, yeah, it's normally just the chicken.
Well, also the thing is that
much to everyone's disgust.
Cheese is quite high fat, isn't it? So I guess that kind of makes sense.
I think it's like one of the Brownlee brothers as well. He has a pizza the night before.
Yeah, ham pineapple.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, something in common with the Brownlee brother there.
Good company.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was good enough for them.
Yeah, definitely. And what 3 top tips would you give for a fast bike to run transition? And then 3 mistakes that you've also made and learned from.
That's a big one. So yeah, as you're like a duathlon expert, it's got to be bike run transition. 3 top tips.
Okay.
Yeah.
Top tips for my bike run transition. I would say have your shoes on the bike. So have your bike shoes already clipped in and have your little elastics looped around the back so that they stay there until you snap them when you pedal. I would say, I would say always getting your wetsuit down whilst you're running. So one mistake I always used to make was the first thing I'd come out of the water, I was so happy to be out of the water, I'd rip off my hat and goggles and then start running and then be like, oh, now they're in my hands and I've got to undo my wetsuit and thread it through. So I'd say undo your wetsuit, pull it down, then rip off your hat and goggles. So that, as you're at your box, you can chuck everything in, pull it down and start stamping whilst you're putting your helmet on. And 3rd tip, I would say always landmark your bike. So have something that you can know exactly where it is. So if there's like a pillar in front of it, or if someone next to you has a brightly coloured bike, actually that's not a good one because that might be.
No, I was going to say those bikes are great, but if they get out before you, that's what happened to me in London Triathlon, my first one. I was going, right, I'm in between this bike, that bike, and I got the rack wrong and the bike was gone and I was just like, oh, I'm just done. I'm done before even started.
Well, I never really had that problem in ITU because my bike was the only one there. So I could run straight to it and happy days. But I'm telling you all my mistakes. So don't look for a coloured bike next to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't take your hat and goggles off. Yeah.
Covered both of that in.
Yeah, absolutely. But what about when you come off the bike onto that run?
Yeah. Everybody
Everybody struggles with jelly legs and that's the transition that most people find challenging. So any tips for that one?
Yeah, I think a lot comes from your preparation. So in your brick sessions, like with my athletes, I always say your run cadence and your bike cadence should be as similar as possible, and that makes your transition so much more fluent because a lot of people, it will be, you'll kind of find as well that optimum cadence, whether it be that 85 or you're more of a 90, 95, like you can translate that from the bike really easily into your run. And if the two are so far apart, like it normally means you're either overgearing or you're overstriding. So it can also be really helpful for like your bike and run efficiency and getting your technique right by looking at the two of them and how they compare.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
I hadn't thought of that.
Well, no.
There we go.
Now we know.
There we go.
I feel like I'm part of the BMC team all of a sudden. I'm getting these tips.
I give you a hoodie.
Yeah, absolutely, totally. Oh, well, I want one. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what about jelly legs? So obviously, brick sessions, cycle, run.
Yeah.
It helps. You know, experience. You just get tolerant of it, don't you? But is there anything, you know, particularly like land-based stuff that you do to help you overcome that?
Yeah, I think again it comes down to like your run technique. Like, you know that if you bite hard enough, like, you're not going to feel great at the start of that run. And normally it's getting into that rhythm. So focusing on all the good stuff, so all the good patterns of light feet, deep breathing, kind of relax your shoulders, and just get into that flow as soon as possible. A lot of people, like I know Paula Ratcliffe used to do it when she ran as well. When they're feeling that, like that real kind of fatigue is hitting in, they kind of count in their head, like just 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1 to 8, or whatever pattern kind of works for you. It's just getting yourself into that rhythm. And it also focuses you in on like what you're doing, and chucks out any of those thoughts of like, oh, my legs are tired, or yeah, that kind of thing.
Cool. Nice. Like it.
And finally, what are you training for? And is your focus now 70.3 or?
Yeah, well, I mean, Corona chucked everything out.
Yeah.
And we've seen you doing a lot of the like virtual Ironman races and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, what's your focus now, like moving forwards?
Yeah, so I'm still really positively hoping that some races will come. Will come this year. Let's hope. I've seen that Lanzarote is still open. So if I can get out of South Africa and I can do Lanzarote, then yeah, that's kind of the immediate. If not, we've kind of learned to be versatile in this time. Like I've got a mountain bike, and the gravel races here have opened up. So I've entered a few of those, and also Cape Town Marathon might do the same thing as London and have an elite race. Yeah. So if that happens, I will run my first marathon without a bike. So
or a swim.
Yeah, that is the plan. Yeah.
And then sorry, Emma. What about challenge? So challenge Daytona is a big one for the pros. So is that something that you're looking at potentially as well?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, if we can get to America and that race happens, like, yeah, all this training will, like, we worked really hard in lockdown, and I feel in good shape. I know I still have to get my swim up a little bit. But honestly, I would take any race that I can get to. Yeah, we will be there. And it was nicely the week before our wedding. So we're kind of hoping it will happen, and then we can have just a big party after. Wow. That is the plan.
I'm guessing the invites are in the post, right?
Yeah, with the hoodie.
Yeah. Nice. They're on their way, I'm sure.
On the way, yeah.
Emma, thank you very much for your time tonight. Really appreciate it. Lovely to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you.
And it'll be, hopefully we'll see you racing very soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Emma. Yeah, fingers
Cheers,
crossed.
thanks guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.